Be careful who you lend your ears to when someone decides to pour out their emotional trash. Because not every venting session is harmless. Not every "I just need to talk" is innocent. And not every person who cries in front of you is seeking healing. Some are seeking agreement. Some are seeking reinforcement. Some are seeking someone to carry what they refuse to confront. You think you're just listening, just being supportive, just being present. But in the spiritual realm, words are not neutral. They carry atmosphere, and atmosphere shapes perception. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it." Notice it doesn't just say, "Guard what you say." It says, "Guard your heart." And your heart is influenced by what you repeatedly allow in. When someone constantly pours frustration, resentment, jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness into your ears that doesn't disappear after the conversation ends. It lingers, settles. You may not notice it immediately, but slowly your thoughts begin to shift. Your tone changes, your patience shortens, your trust weakens. You didn't wake up negative, you absorbed it. Samson didn't lose his strength in battle. He lost it in conversation. Judges 16 shows Delilah repeatedly pressing him for information. What looked like intimacy became exposure. What felt like connection became compromise. He gave access to the wrong ears. And sometimes spiritual downfall doesn't start with open rebellion. It starts with repeated emotional vulnerability in the wrong environment. There are people who do not want resolution. They want repetition. They replay the same pain, the same complaint, the same offense. And every time they speak it, they reinforce it. If you become the constant receiver of that narrative, you begin reinforcing it too. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." It doesn't say instantly, it says corrupts. Corruption is gradual. You don't notice decay in one day. It happens over time. Influence does not require closeness. It requires exposure. If someone repeatedly pours fear into you, you will begin to feel anxious. If someone repeatedly pours distrust into you, you will begin to suspect. If someone repeatedly pours offense into you, you will begin to harden. And here's the danger. You may think you're helping, but if they never seek change, never seek counsel, never seek prayer, and only seek someone to echo their pain, you are not helping. You are hosting. Job's friends talked endlessly. They analyzed, they theorized, they judged. They filled the silence with opinion. But their words did not heal Job. They intensified his suffering. Not every listener carries wisdom. Some conversations multiply heaviness instead of removing it. Galatians 6 speaks about carrying each other's burdens. But it also says each person should carry their own load. There is a difference between support and substitution. If every time you leave certain conversations you feel drained, irritable, or spiritually clouded, that is not coincidence. That is transfer. Emotional trash doesn't disappear when it's dumped. It relocates. And if you are not discerning, it relocates into you. Here is what most believers never stop to consider. Not everyone who comes to you broken wants to be rebuilt. Some want to remain broken, but not alone. And if you are not careful, you will slowly become an emotional landfill for problems that were never assigned to you. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Notice the word harm. It doesn't say you instantly become foolish. It says you suffer damage. Damage happens gradually. You don't wake up one morning completely changed. It happens through repeated exposure, through repeated conversations, through repeated agreement with narratives that were never filtered. Lot didn't start living in Sodom. Genesis 13 says he pitched his tents near Sodom, near it, close enough to be influenced, but not fully involved. But proximity becomes participation. What you stay around long enough, you eventually normalize. If someone constantly vents about betrayal, you begin expecting betrayal. If someone constantly complains about leadership, you begin distrusting authority. If someone constantly interprets events through suspicion, you begin seeing hidden motives everywhere. And you may not even realize when your mindset shifted. Ephesians 6:11 tells us to put on the full armor of God so we can stand against the schemes of the enemy. Notice it says schemes, not just attacks. Schemes are subtle, they are strategic, they are slow. Not every spiritual attack looks dramatic. Some look like endless emotional dumping that slowly reshapes your thinking. Jesus listened to people, but he did not absorb their unbelief. In Mark 6, when the atmosphere was filled with doubt, he didn't argue endlessly. He didn't let their unbelief define him. He limited what he did there and moved forward. He did not allow the environment to dictate his identity. You must learn the same discipline. There is a difference between compassion and contamination. Compassion listens with wisdom. Contamination absorbs without boundaries. Someone is genuinely seeking counsel, prayer, or correction. That is different. That is growth. But if someone repeatedly pours negativity without any intention to change, you are not helping by absorbing it. You are enabling repetition. Galatians 6 makes it clear. Carry one another's burdens, yes, but each one must carry their own load. Support does not mean ownership. You are not spiritually obligated to carry emotional chaos that someone refuses to process. And sometimes the most loving thing you can say is, I can pray with you, but I cannot carry this for you. Discernment is not coldness. It is protection. Psalm 1 says, Blessed is the one who does not sit in the counsel of the wicked. Counsel shapes direction. Advice shapes outcomes. Atmosphere shapes perspective. If your ears are constantly filled with emotional trash, your spirit will struggle to stay clear. So ask yourself, honestly, who has access to your ears? Who regularly occupies your emotional space? After certain conversations, do you feel lighter or heavier? Stronger or drained? Clear or confused? That's not random. That's influence. And influence shapes destiny. If this message exposed something you've been tolerating, don't ignore it. Adjust access. Set boundaries. Filter conversations. You are called to be light, not storage. Comment discernment if you are choosing to guard your ears starting today. Share this with someone who keeps absorbing everyone else as chaos and wondering why they feel so spiritually exhausted. And subscribe for more scripture-based clarity that strengthens your faith without feeding unnecessary guilt. Be careful who you lend your ears to, because what you repeatedly listen to, you eventually become